guys, Pola Bryson here.
And we're standing in sunny Stratford behind us, and we've just put together a cheeky little breakdown video on how we made our new tune, Stratford Riddim. We hope you enjoy.
Peace.
Hey guys, this is us, Pola Bryson, and we are going to talk through our track Stratford Riddim from our Lost in Thought album.
Yeah, which I believe is out now as well. If you haven't heard it, make sure you check the link in the comments below where you can give it a good listen. But we're going to give you a little breakdown now.
So we've chosen this track to walk through because it's fairly simple in terms of how we made it and stuff. Although when we started it was completely different to how it sounds now. We'll show you an older version as well, so you can see how much it's changed. But
one thing that's definitely not changed throughout is the synthesis. Yeah.
We'll just play a quick little section
snippet
of the track, and then we'll break it down. So yeah, we'll start off with that synth that you can hear. Let's have a look. Where is it?
Where is that? It's all been named. It's down, lower down. There we go.
Here we go. So this was made using.
What did we use? Oh, it's Thor.
Thor.
Nice set of multi oscillators there.
Let's have a look at the MIDI. Just join that for now so you can see. So this is the notation. Let's play it on its own. So we've duplicated it and then panned it left and right.
That obviously allows you to get a nice wide stereo field.
Yeah, they're both slightly different to each other as well. So
I think they've got different. So in the multi oscillators, some of them are slightly more detuned in a certain direction.
yeah, the detune amount is slightly different on each
on each of the two instances.
On each of the two instances, so kind of gives that stereo field. Yeah, and then so this is kind of how it started. It started with this synth.
See, I remember you sent this to me, and I loved how it sounded. Then I opened the automation below here, and I saw that you'd drawn all of this in by hand, which I thought was just absolutely mental.
This was a bit tedious, and this was done quite a long time ago. Since then, we've learnt better ways.
So obviously now you can like use envelopes,
filter modulation,
and filter modulation that you don't
that stuff.
Yeah,
but
it's like preset stuff.
I guess a good thing with this is you've got more control over how it sounds, but it's
a tedious process. Yeah,
a long time.
Yeah. It's a lot more unique sounding. You know that it's always going to sound different.
So as it goes down here, I've drawn this pattern down, and it kind of filters down, and it still has that modulation here, but it's much more filtered down in the drop. And then as that goes along, kind of builds
back up again, doesn't it? Yeah.
To the next progression. And then I think here, when we get to this point, it just plays without the modulation. It just kind of filters down and then filters back up. And then
this is where it just went mental.
Yeah. It sounds a little bit poppy, but in the mix it's unnoticeable, that stuff.
Yeah. So from the synths, the next thing we did was it was atmoses and stuff, wasn't it? Just trying to kind of
so
there's effects and atmospheres above that.
Let's have a look.
Which is all this stuff in the orange, I think.
So this is the synth bounced out and with quite a lot of reverb on it, and we bounced it out and reversed it. I'll just reverse that so you can So it's just the end of the synth reversed, bounced out, reversed, and then
using the tail like a riser.
Using the tail,
or the reverse tail.
Yeah. And then that's how we built this Atmos.
So what we did was we took a section of that that chord stab with the really long reverb tail, and we chopped just a very small section of that reverb tail out.
Yeah.
Duplicated it.
Well, I think
blended it together, added more reverb.
I think there was more to it than that as well, because at this part, it
yeah, that's
changes.
just a section of the reverse tail.
It is, yeah.
Yeah,
it's
and it was joined
part
together, and then we added more reverb, and then we bounced that out.
It's this one. It's also part of the same synth, but we recorded different chords so that it would follow the chord progression, and it kind of reversed it, and it gave it that nice kind of...
One of the best things that we do for kind of coming up with interesting pads and atmospheres and stuff is whacking loads of reverb on a nice sound that we've created, that we've used in a track,
then
and then you bounce it out, and then you mess around with that and add loads of reverb, and then you bounce it out again and
pitch it up as fifth or a seventh.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, reverse it, just fiddle around with things. But I think if you make it from a sound that exists within the same track, it kind of
gels it together.
Yeah, it gels it. Yeah, because there's frequencies that pair up with one another.
Well,
and they
what we also like to do, and we've used one of them here, is if we're having an off day, we can't really write any material, we've got like a writer's block, we'll just make sounds, atmospheres mainly.
Like this, yeah.
Like this is just one of the many atmospheres we have.
I think that atmosphere I think is from our tune Run From You with Sammy Bell.
It might be, yeah.
That's exactly what that is, yeah.
It might be, yeah. So we do reuse a few little sounds here and there.
Only little ones.
Only little ones, yeah, we don't go. Look, I'll just show you quick. We've got just our go-to stuff. We've got loads more, but they're just not really in the correct places.
Yeah.
So these are just the kind of sounds we make on a daily basis, really.
Post-production, I'm going to blur out half of what those folders say. There we go.
Right, so next, what is
bass?
Next?
Bass is what kind of bass line that carries a lot of this tune, I think.
Yeah, bass is quite a big part of this tune.
You get the movement from the chords, and the lead is the bass, really, isn't it?
So, I think we just started with a sub originally, which is just again from a Thor.
But I mean, with most of the times we make basses, it's like we start with a sub, but actually being able, you don't just want to feel it, you want to be able to hear it.
Yeah,
and so
give
you
it
end
some
up
texture, some tone.
So you get the sort of more grittier sounds over the top.
So this is just kind of a basic 808 style bass line, with the attack slightly up and the decay down and the sustain down. I just realised that should probably be on mono retrig, but anyway, never mind. So yeah, and then we went on to make this bass. So we've got two parts to this top bass. We've got what's called gritty bass, which is a bass sample we put into an NNXT. I can't speak today. And then
through a ton of effects on it.
A ton of effects on it.
Some
The stereo imager,
yeah.
which we haven't actually used, I don't think.
No, that was bypassed. Some compression, some light reverb, more compression,
and some distortion, and then some
delay at the end, yeah.
So it's always, since this is quite an old project, what we normally do now is we'll do a parallel separate tracks, separate sends for all our effects.
Split certain frequencies, yeah.
But this is just how we did it in this one.
It's one thing to point out that it's always nice to have sort of reverbs and delays on basses, but you want to ensure that your sub frequencies and the lower frequencies are being kept separate.
And that's why we now like to have them in separate parallel channels, so that you control the EQ of the effects channel. Yeah,
before you then send it to the reverb or the delay.
Yeah, and
so
then
that you can get all the low frequencies out of it.
Yeah.
And then tweak just the higher bits.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then, so after this gritty bass, we made this low bass, which is, again, it's another gritty bass.
It's just like really heavily compressed, this, I think, isn't it?
Similar sample, and then that's got a stereo imager,
And barely, actually, I don't know why I said heavily compressed. It's got barely any compression on it at all.
It's got a little bit of compression and some reverb, and then that goes to this bus here, which has nothing on it.
That's just for us. That's just for us to be a little bit neater.
And then that bus has a separate parallel channel here, which does add a lot. We've got Saturn here.
Got a fat amount of distortion on that.
Which just has a little bit of drive on that, and then some compression, and that's pretty much it. Some quite harsh compression to kind of fill out the dynamics a bit.
It's worth pointing, I think, as well, for anybody because plenty of people have asked us sort of what plugins and effects we use and stuff. In regards to effects and stuff, we really do like the FabFilter stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
All of it is just, it's a very...
Really like
it's a good set to
EQ.
Get, and you can rely on them, can't you?
The EQ is very precise, and you don't get as much phasing problems as you do.
And the compression. I love the compressors.
Compression's, simple and very good.
Easy to get your head around. Not overly complicated. Break.
I'm still on the bass.
Oh, you're still on the bass. I'm getting a little bit too carried away, aren't I?
We have some filter automation on this Pola Bryson, which is kind of like a distortion unit as well as a compressor, and it has quite a nice filter actually. And then that kind of builds up the dirt. So you've got the fundamental bass line underneath, and then the dirt kind of comes in as it progresses along, and then it gets, this bit's kind of it's a bit higher, it's a bit more aggressive.
It's the same line, but it just starts higher up, and it's
yeah,
on the frequency spectrum.
So yeah, that's the bass. I mean, that's the most fundamental part of the track's covered.
Chords and bass.
Well,
but now we've got the drums.
So here we go.
So let's go over to all of these channels.
Right, so I'll solo the drums. I'll solo the drums as a whole, and then I will go through it bit by bit.
Solo bits pond away.
So we'll start with the kick, shall we?
Kick's the best place to start, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right at the bottom.
Let's do that.
Right.
Kick bus. Yeah. So let's dissect this. So we've got
lots of kicks.
We've just got the one actually.
No, as in like lots of kick hits.
Lots of kick hits. Yeah, we've got. It's quite a unique pattern. It's more sort of footworky, but we didn't really aim for that sort of sound. It just so happened.
Yeah, we went through quite a lot of different sort of styles and patterns, and it.
Before we had the same kick pattern, but we had a really horrible kick, which is like really harsh.
Yeah, and a really sort of dance floory snare as well. It didn't gel well.
No, we'll show you that version in a bit, and then see how it's changed.
Or maybe not.
Or maybe not, depending on how we feel. So that's just a fundamental. That's quite a good name. That fundamental kick, and then we've made a parallel channel for it. Put some Saturn distortion on it, and then convoluted it. This is what I love doing to kicks. So we've got some convolution reverb here, and that kind of gives it that roomy sound. Again, what I'd do now is create a separate parallel for just the convolution, but this kind of sounds quite nice altogether. So yeah, convolution, you can basically put your own sample in there.
And it imitates the sort of waveform, doesn't it?
Imitates the waveform. You want a nice wide stereo sample if you want to get that kind of stereo image to whatever you're putting the reverb on.
But this one you haven't dragged and dropped. This one I think is just using one of the presets, isn't it?
But
they've got very roomy sound to them, the presets.
Yeah,
on
so
Reason.
We can flick through them.
Which actually we haven't yet mentioned. If anybody's unaware as to what we're using, we use Reason.
Yeah.
Which
this is Reason 10 at
Reason
the
10.
moment, but this was actually made on like Reason 7, I think. That's quite an old
7 or 8
old project. So yeah, you've got these different samples in here.
So
this is what we went for in the end. It's got a quite nice stereo field. It's just one of the presets in the that comes with the RV7000 reverb in Reason. So yeah, there's plenty of different things you can play around with there, and then just adding a very harsh compression again to that, and that again fills in the dynamics, and it fills in the mid-range of the kick and gives it some stereo image as well, so it's quite nice and wide. So together it sounds like that.
Snare. Because there's a couple.
Snare, we've got quite a few snares.
We should talk about the break first, because the break is kind of predominantly the main aspect of the track.
Yeah, break.
Can't remember where we found this break. In fact, I think this was you that found this break.
I think, yeah, this is like from some sort of D&B breaks. I think it's the Music Radar pack, which is quite heavily used, but
not often in this way.
So yeah,
what we like to do. We like to take the obvious and do something unconventional.
Unconventional. I mean, it's not that unconventional, but we've put the break in, chopped it up, matched it to the kick pattern that we had, and then we just joined these. So these are all the individual hits of the break, and then we just kind of joined them together, and that makes this loop here. And then I think when it drops, it's slightly different. So it's a little bit more. It's a bit more contained, a bit more shorter decay, and it's got some little variations somewhere, I believe, like towards the end of the 16.
No, do you not?
Oh yeah,
yeah, that's
there
it.
You go.
A little bit of cowbell.
Extra cowbell. So yeah, that's the breaks, and then we'll go into the snare. Did we do anything to the break?
Don't think we did.
Sure. Oop.
A little bit of
again,
reverb
just
and some delay.
Just a bit of convolution reverb there.
And the delay, I think, is just for automation.
It kind of puts it in the background, puts it in the distance, so it doesn't stick out and kind of clash with the upfront frequencies. Kind of puts it in the distance a little bit and makes it sound a bit more roomy. And this also is not the final mixed project. We've got a separate project for mixing down, which we'll go through later. But yeah, we'll move on to the snare now.
It was the snare rolls that I really liked in this.
So yeah, we've got, I think we just started off with just a normal snare, nice snare sample that we found. There's not really much processing on here.
No.
It's kind of just, sometimes we don't like to over-process things because it can just mess things up, to be honest.
Well, that's the key with any sort of sample search. Is it's always better to find a good sample rather than working on a bad sample.
Yeah, and making it sound good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we do kind of tend to process things quite a fair bit, but in this case we haven't, and I think it sounds quite good actually.
Yeah. We only tend to process good sounding samples because Harry's a perfectionist and a sonic wizard.
Not quite, but and then we've got this knocky snare on top, bit of compression in there, just some gentle compression on that. So yeah, that's like the main snare.
Yeah, basically. And then you got the
Just
marching drum snare, which is that sort of snare roll.
Yeah, I'll show you what I did with this. It's kind of I took some sort of marching snare loop that I found, and then just kind of chopped it up. It already had these kind of nice natural rolls that came with it, and then I just kind of chopped them out and made them fit within the track. And then yeah, we just had the snares kind of. So yeah, going a bit more in depth with the marching snare, let's have a look at what we did to it. Not much on the original, but then we made a parallel, and lo and behold, it's just for reverb. Okay,
it's just
that's literally
reverb,
it.
There you go.
It's a pretty simple project this then, but that's kind of why we chose to show you through.
show you through.
Should we jump into the parallels and the bus effects for the drums?
I'll just go through the tops. Just go through the tops quickly.
Oh yeah.
Hat bus. There you go. We've got quite a few tops here. We like to have a lot of tops. Sometimes I do find our mixes to be a little bit too toppy sometimes, but there we go. We're slowly working on that. What have we got here?
Progression with tops is
quite important.
Yeah, definitely. It's very important, and it's very obvious in this tune as well.
It
so
kind of moves the track along.
I think we start with like 5, and then we go on to 7.
It depends really.
And then back onto 5 in this, like 5 different sets of.
So yeah, we've just got we've got hats in 3 layers. So we've got them on quarter notes, then 1/8 notes, then 16th notes, and in actual fact, this one
is on 32.
It's just madness. And that it kind of fills out the space a bit in the top end.
So bring in that 16th one as well.
It kind of makes it a bit more fluid. So altogether, you can barely hear it, but it's there.
If you mute it,
you kind of notice a lack in fluidity. If that makes any sense. It's
definitely more relevant, prominent there.
Yeah. So I'm muting now, and you can just kind of hear those gaps. It just kind of gives it. It's almost acting as a reverb in a way, but it's kind of a bit more substantial. Controlled.
Yeah, you can hone it into those certain frequencies you want to feel.
And then we've got some percussion coming in here. And that's basically it. Some more tops here. Yeah, that's it. A little fill there.
So at this point, it's definitely, I think it's worth looking at the overall drum processing. So yeah, after we've done all that, we route everything through to a drum bus. We've got our own hat bus, our kick bus, and then we process them individually, and then we route it through to the drum bus. So let's go through here. What have we got on the main? We've just got our, I think, a little bit of subtle compression.
Gentle compression on the main one. Actually, that attack shouldn't be so fast at all, but too late now, isn't it? And then we've got some parallel. What's this one? So on the first parallel, we've got some very heavy compression and some satin distortion as well. Just gentle saturation on that. And then on the second parallel, we have convoluted it.
Convolution reverb. A little bit more compression.
A tad bit of compression there. We don't tend to use these M-class compressors anymore because we've now got plugins. The beautiful world of plugins, which Reason didn't have until about
the complicated world of plugins.
Oh yeah, but they do make a huge difference.
Yeah, but the thing is though, a lot of you should never underestimate the stuff that comes built in to your DAWs.
Yeah.
So like all the M-class stuff in Reason, I mean 99% of the stuff in Reason is fantastic. And we've been relying entirely on it and it alone.
I love the reverb. I've had quite a lot of people say how nice the reverb is in our tracks, and that's from
Reason. So big up Reason.
That's mainly what we use for our reverb. We're just starting to get into like Valhalla and stuff like that, but still, this reverb's great. Yeah, just simple convolution gives it that stereo image in the background, kind of fills it out, and that is all the elements, I believe.
There we go.
So yeah, what we like to do is bounce everything, mainly just the buses. What we've bussed up, we'll bust the atmospheres up, the bass, the synth, and then we'll put them all into another mix project where the CPU is better.
Well, it's basically so that it doesn't destroy our computer. So like all of those tops and the hats, like they'll all get put.
And it just means we can kind of go to town on plugins a bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Without disrupting our CPU and making the computer slow.
Which is always a healthy sort of process to get into their swing of.
Yeah, it does make the file size of the project much bigger, but it runs quicker.
Yeah. So there's very little sort of master processing that's been done in this. We added a couple of elements in the track that were not in here before. So once we got everything sort of sounding nice, we felt like it could do with like a little top line here and there. So we added this piano, which is sort of a guitar-y, sitar-y piano.
Which we did made
in Addictive Keys.
Addictive Keys.
Yeah.
We love to use this. We use this for quite a lot of our pianos and stuff. This one in particular, we've used the electric grand, and great thing is you can kind of choose your mic position. They have a selection of microphones and mic positions that you can choose from, and it's quite cool to flick through them and see how each one sounds and stuff.
Yeah, and you pair something like Addictive Keys with a good quality sort of weighted key MIDI keyboard or piano or stage piano or something like that, and you can get some fantastic results, like fantastic sounding results.
Yeah, I used to sequence all our pianos
so it sounded
before
like it was played
we got
live.
proper weighted keyboards, and that took a long time. So I'd recommend getting a proper weighted keyboard.
You can tell Harry is the more mellow, patient one out of the two of us.
I don't have the same patience I used to, though. Definitely not.
That's just because you've gotten to know me a little bit better over the years.
I do not.
I'm grating away at you. So we had the pianos, and again,
got a bit of chorus on. You can choose. There's got effects in built-in effects into that as well that are really good.
But then we did again a little bit more sort of parallel processing, so a nice sort of spring reverb, and some
EQ just to notch out. I think it's just to notch out the bad frequencies.
Yeah. And then there was this little sort of synth swell, which you wrote this with mad amounts of automation, but with stupidly...
Well, no, it wasn't. I think this is actually more modulation and tremolo from Addictive Keys, again. It does not sound like Addictive Keys, but that's what came of it.
But there was a horrendously large amount of processing involved in the single sample.
Unfortunately, we don't have, because I deleted the original, because I bounced it out.
And then we deleted the instrument that made the sound with all the effects
basically. I'm getting more into the habit of bouncing things out now as well, because I like to play around with the audio.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's ready for like transitions and stuff. Most of the elements we've added after are just for like transitions or just little flurries and little bits here and there. Like.
Yeah, or just that kind of last layer of flair, isn't it?
Yeah. All the little noises. So this is what this swell does. It just like smoothens out the transition, adds a cool little tone to the track as well, which is quite cool. And then
little noises in tracks.
Rest
like this
is just kind of just like crashes and
little bits of white noise and
some jingle bells.
Never enough tops.
Never enough tops. Crash. What have we got here? Another little sample. Just a little atmosphere. That's pretty much it. We've got a bit of automation here as well on Synth Bus.
Again, hand drawn.
Hand drawn.
Harry is
all handmade, handcrafted.
Psychotic tendencies.
And that's pretty much that.
Yeah.
In terms of the mix down, we haven't actually done.
No, this is pretty much just adjusting levels. This wasn't it?
Yeah, because we like to kind of mix as we go along, don't we?
Yeah.
It just means that
there's less to do at the end, but also we find it easier to write creatively if
things sound good. Yeah. To start off with, obviously a big part of that is choosing good sounds and making good sounds and stuff. But we like to make things gel together straight away so we can get the inspiration to further the track.
Yeah. Well, we hope that you've all enjoyed this sort of track breakdown of our new single, Stratford Riddim. Let us know in the comments below if you liked it, and if you'd like us to do another one in the future. Let us know which tune you'd like us to do.
Bear in mind this is our first time ever doing this, so sorry if it was a bit wobbly, but
yeah, we'll get used to it, I'm sure.
We'll get better at this. Yeah.